everybody, and welcome to Media Club. We have a very special episode because it's our game of the year so far. With me, we have Austin, Bo, Bret, and Josh.
Howdy.
What's up?
How goes it?
Well, today, before we get into the topic of the show, giving you a little update on our Fantasy Critic League. And just a disclaimer before, Bo and Bret were not a part of Waypoint when we did this, so it's just Jordan, Josh, Chris, Austin, and myself. So we'll start off. Let's see. I think there's not too many updates, so it should go pretty quick. Jordan looks like he picked up Shin Megami Tensei 5 since the last time we gave it updates after E3.
That guy picks up a bunch of questionable games, in my opinion.
Yeah,
A bunch of them.
that's why he's last.
Yeah, he is at 13 points. Chris, I think he had both Advanced Wars and WarioWare when we gave update at E3, so nothing new there. Sifu will not release this year, so 0 there. 49 points though, so he's sitting pretty solid in third place. Got myself. We've got
Chris is gonna be a sleeper at the end of the year.
Oh yeah, he's got some big hitters there if they actually do. Myself, I haven't made new additions because my team is full. But Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Extraction got delayed out of this year, so I did not know that had happened. So when I went to check over the weekend, I saw that. It's like I did not see that announcement, so that caught me by surprise.
I'm glad you stole it from me in the bidding.
But I did have 2 games get points recently. Got Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD with 12 points. Ooh. And Chris Tales with 6 points. So I'm sitting at 71 points.
That seems low for Priest Tales. I figured that'd be a little bit higher.
I know that game was getting like pretty good scores, like 8s and 9s. So seeing it at 76, surprising.
Some people didn't like it, I guess.
I just downloaded it off of Game Pass. Like, and I had not heard of it before the "Hey, it's coming to Game Pass" announcement, and saw a quick snippet and was like, "Okay, I'm sold." So I'm excited to jump in, but I really have no idea what it is.
They might hear that a little later in the podcast.
Ooh.
We got Austin. Let's see. He's at 77 points. So I'm like I was told him in the Discord. Was it yesterday or a couple days ago? I'm at Jaws. Get the music ready. Dun, dun.
Yep.
Doesn't look. Oh, you did drop Breath of the Wild 2 and pick up Diablo 2 Resurrected.
I did. Yeah, we announced that last time, but yes, that's an important distinction. Yeah, Bo, if you don't know, at the beginning of the year, I pulled a Tim Geddes. Actually, Tim Geddes pulled a me, where I filled up my entire roster, right, like day 1 or 2, and I was like, well, oops.
Just let all the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, sure did.
And then finishing up with Josh, he's sitting at 16 points, but he has only got 2 games released, and 2 that he can't drop because he got counterpicked.
Oh yeah.
But he's been making some moves. So
a couple.
He's got because you had Stray and Road 96 at E3, right?
Just after E3.
Just after. Okay, so yeah, he's picked up Stray, Road 96, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, and Death Stranding Director's Cut.
I needed a couple easy dubs there, some surefire releases with already guaranteed points.
Right. Those could easily be 90s. Like those could easily get you 20 points each.
I'm hoping.
Ghost of Tsushima plus a pretty decent size DLC campaign from what we've been hearing.
Yeah, I can see Death Stranding maybe not being a 90 just because of how polarizing that game is, but I think there's potential for you to get at least a 90.
I was thinking the same thing because I remember a couple outlets giving it like 6s back in 2019, but then I looked at the final overall like Metacritic or OpenCritic score and it like isn't in the 80s. Now I'm like, I'll take it gladly, get some points on the board. Just beat out Jordan. That's my only objective at this point is to just not be last, dude. That's all I care about now.
That will be the narrative of the season. If you don't get last, whoever gets last is just gonna be shit on. Like, how?
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
not just because Jordan's not here. I'm not going to say anything bad, but he did pick up Destruction All Stars.
I'm gonna say everything.
Yeah.
That dude picks games that I don't understand.
Fair enough.
So
Like I understand like big risks, but I feel like those weren't even risks. It was just like, this won't perform, my guy. I don't know what you're
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
So now that we got that out of the way, we're recording this the night of the 22nd. So EA Play Live actually happened earlier this afternoon. So not too much was announced there, but we did get Grid Legends. So I'm not a racing guy, so I don't know if anybody else is here.
Not really,
Nope.
but I will say I'm very for like sports-ish franchises adding a budget to a story mode. Like I do enjoy, like I did enjoy Long Shot for what it was
I did
in
too.
Madden. So if Grid is taking that approach to it, like I think that's a good move. I don't know if it will like succeed because I don't even think the Long Shot on like when they put that in Madden, if that people raved about that at all. Like I don't remember if it got any attention or not. But I personally am more interested in that game than I was before hearing it, even though that was announced. You know what I mean? I'm more interested
Right.
in that game now with the story mode than I would have been without it.
Yeah, one thing I will say about that was really cool is they showed like that shot of like the cameras following them and like the backgrounds changing behind the actor. I thought that was pretty cool, just from a technology standpoint.
Presentation wise, the whole thing was
Oh,
awesome.
video walls galore.
Yeah, it was fantastic. 100%.
Lots of Apex gun charms. So if you're big on Apex, you have gun charms for almost every single game that was at that showcase. So that's pretty cool.
And some that weren't, apparently. I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you get all those codes? You get all those codes for those
No.
numbers for the code or whatever? Yeah.
I've already played It Takes Two, and I might be talking about it a little bit later. But so I didn't need it.
Me too.
I didn't need the codes.
Yeah, so then we got some Apex news, which I know myself and Bo are probably pretty excited for that. Like, got some amazing trailer for that new character, which he looks awesome.
Seer and all of his abilities are very much like how I want to play Apex, but my friends are often taking Bloodhound before me, so I'm like, I'll play any other character, but now I'm just like, no, I claim Seer.
Right.
I think I don't want to get too deep into Apex stuff because, again, don't want to spoil, but I might be talking about it later. So I want to save it for that if we do have time. But I'm very excited for what's to come in season 10, season 9, whatever the next season is.
Whatever, yeah.
That's a lot of seasons. I feel like Apex came out like
for a while,
like a year and a half ago. It's probably longer than that, but like it just feels like it's only been out for like a year.
Today.
Damn.
Oh, really? Today?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Happy birthday.
It came out of nowhere. But not literally today.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
Yeah, February 2019. So
Got
2.5 years, yeah.
Yeah, just the shadow drop. I love that.
That's right.
Amazing.
Just came out of nowhere, had a bunch of streamers playing it and enjoying it, and
worked for him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It really is.
Then we got Lost in Random, which color me intrigued on that game. I'm not sure if I'll actually play it, but I am intrigued.
Another EA original, and EA originals have been killing it this year.
They have.
And that game looks like it's going to be an indie darling. It was at the Tribeca Festival, which at 6-1 they were all over that. Like that's a big deal.
Right.
So yeah, keep your eyes on Lost in Random.
Yeah, that's like the first game to be at the Tribeca Festival.
I don't know if it was the first game or if it was part of the first showcase of games. Yes, correct. Yes.
Right.
So the fact that games are being shown right next to films these days is amazing.
100%.
And they're highlighting indies for the most part. So that's
exactly
cool.
Right.
Yep.
Which you wouldn't really expect from EA, but also if you have Game Pass, you have EA Play, so you're gonna be able to pick that up for free. So worth a shot, for sure.
Definitely.
Maybe because It Takes Two isn't on there. So.
Oh right.
Anyway,
but Knockout City is.
Exactly. Then was it Battlefield 2042. They showed some of that. They showed the Portals aspect, which was, from what I understand, because I had to leave like partway through that for a conference call too. So, from what I understood, it's like player generated content, that's like from all the Battlefield games.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're getting real goofy with it. They showed like World War II soldiers with knives fighting Battlefield 3 soldiers like with defibrillators. It all seems cool. They're mix and matching like World War II planes with like a bunch of World War II soldiers like shoot down a modern day plane by like Flynn in a car at it. It all seems incredible, and with the recent like Activision allegations, there's no way I'm picking up Call of Duty this year. So there's like, I'm glad Battlefield's firing on all cylinders, even though it's a multiplayer only game. It's awesome that they brought on another studio to help flesh out that content, and Portals has me really excited.
That's a really good point with the Activision stuff, which shouldn't be glossed over. It's extremely shitty what's happening to women and people of color. So people need to speak out. Like we need to hold people accountable. I just wanted to say that at the top. But getting back
110%.
to Battlefield Portal, if call me out if I'm wrong, but it kind of seems like Gary's mod for Battlefield. Like it's just a bunch of assets kind of thrown into it. Not to that extent, but where you can just create your whatever you want. Just use these assets, do what you want with them, kind of stuff.
Yeah, basically.
Kind of. It's like
Forge. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it's picked.
That's a better comparison.
Yeah, 100%. It's kind of picked from the best Battlefield games from past with like 1942, 2042, 3, and Bad Company 2, and just kind of put into one big pot. And yeah, it seems very cool.
Yeah, they seem very aware of their product, and that's what I like about it.
Oh yeah.
And I personally haven't gotten a chance to watch the trailer, but Dead Space remake coming. Don't know when, but it's by EA Motive. So
is it? So it says remake. Is that like a reboot as well?
It's built from the ground up. That's all I saw from the tweet.
Does that mean reboot though?
I don't know about reboot.
I think it's like a Resident Evil 2 situation, right?
Okay.
100%.
It's going to be a different game, but it's still going to have the spirit of the original, right? That's what I imagine.
Kind of like Demon Souls too, as well. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could 100% see EA looking at what Resident Evil has been doing with 2 and 3 remake, as well as the Callisto Protocol, which is kind of the spiritual successor that that the original game director of Dead Space is now working on. And I feel like they kind of just saw that trailer and saw the hype around it, and went off to make this and gave it to EA Motive, which Motive, I think they've done Squadrons and a bunch of stuff for Star Wars. So I have complete faith that they can revive this franchise for sure.
Bringing up Callisto Protocol is kind of it begs the question, like, do you think if Callisto Protocol didn't exist, they would reboot it? But since Callisto Protocol is doing their own thing, that they're like, okay, let's just do a hard remake. This is a question for the entire panel.
That's a good question.
I think they were going to do it anyways. They know the cachet that franchise has with the general gaming audience, and it's easier to go back to the well than come up with something new. So,
and I think it's part of it is just gauging interest. Not making a new Dead Space and kind of doing what like Insane Trilogy. Get Crash, but Dead Space back into the public's perspective.
Interest.
Yeah,
and then if it performs well, we get Crash 4 in quotations.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
So now that we got that out of the way, Bo, how about you start us off with number 3 of your game of the year so far?
So number 3 for me is Loop Hero, and it's that low only because it is one of those games that I'm not really like trying to beat, but it's one of those, if I'm watching something, if I'm watching a stream, if I'm just chilling, if I'm like talking to someone on Discord and I'm primarily in the conversation, but I also want to like kind of do something in the background, like Loop Hero is the perfect just do something while you're doing something else game.
I love it.
But the problem is a lot of the time I am just so focused on Loop Hero that even though I'm like talking to another person, I just every third sentence doesn't make any sense because I'm just like fuck shit, oh god, I messed up. It's like like the whole conceit of it's an idle game and you can just like it plays itself. I understand why people say that, but it's so like once you kind of get into it, like every little detail matters and you want to make sure that like you're moving at the right pace in terms of, for those that don't know, Loop Hero is essentially It's very. Has anyone else played it? Because I have trouble describing it. So, like, how would you describe it? It's a roguelike deck builder,
kind of like dungeon
idle
crawler
RPG. Yeah, like
it's basically your character. It's a top down, and it's literally a loop, and your character just keeps walking around the loop. You start at a campsite, and if you can leave anytime you want to keep your resources to go build like your base, basically, and you can leave anytime to take your resources, but however far away you are from your campsite, the more resources you lose. And I found that out because I literally clicked retreat one tile off of my camp, and you lose 30% of your resources. So I had to make an entire loop around to get back there.
Hot tip: don't do that. Don't be Alec.
Yeah, and a lot of the game's appeal, at least for me, has been the discovery aspect of it, because it is very like. And the conceit of the story is I think the Lich, whatever, just some evil god, who cares, wiped out everything. And you wake up and you remember vaguely, but you're not really sure. And the more you walk around, you're remembering things. And as the player are putting like mountains down and putting shops down and putting cemeteries down. And that's the hero remembering things, and the hero plays it like and then the interaction that you have when you put a bunch of mountains together, it becomes a peak, and then a harpy comes down, and then a harpy comes down, and you have a conversation with the harpy, and the conversation's weird as fuck. So it's like, even if it is an idle game,
afterwards.
Yeah, but like no one knows why, and exactly. So it just brings this like sense of dread and confusion that I'm like, I need to get. I know that it's probably not going to be some big, mind blowing like Psycho Mantis level fucking twist, but like. I want to know what happens at the end, so I want to keep going, and that's why, once I beat it, I'll probably be able to feel better about praising it so highly. But it's so good, it's so good. Check it out.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And the hardest part for me is like I've heard everybody say, "Oh yeah, you can like watch shows while you do that." It's like me, I'm like, it gets so chaotic the further you get into things. Like I'm paying more attention to the game than I am the show.
Right.
There's some shows that's okay, like watching reruns of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, or watching something that your girlfriend wants to watch, but you don't want to watch.
That seems oddly specific.
It's only on
Moving
PC.
on.
Should be
just to touch on, just to touch on Loop Hero. Like I don't know why it surprised me that you said that there was a story, but I don't know why. But I just assumed that game had no story. Like I assumed like the game was just the mechanics and like the top down. It kind of plays itself to an extent, kind of thing. So you saying it had a story kind of hooked me more. I don't know why that did.
It's intriguing. Like it's not
a throwaway.
No, yeah, it's not like full act like cutscenes and shit, but it's like the few conversations that pop up and the few little surprises that happen when you place a tile here and then you place a tile next to it. Oh shit, this happens? Oh, okay, well I guess like that makes sense. And it's I don't know, discovery is kind of like the theme of the game in a very, very weird, out of your hands way.
Cool. It's only $15 on Steam, so. All right,
is it coming to console at all?
Oh,
real
not
quick.
That I know.
No.
Yeah, I feel like they could translate the interface, but I'm not a UI designer, so I have no idea how.
I feel like it's got enough attention to where it will eventually come to consoles, but that could literally be years from now.
Or honestly, like Switch or something. With
honestly, even mobile, like using touch controls on that would be awesome.
I was gonna say, like, if it was on Apple Arcade, that would probably, I think that would be a good fit.
Right, maybe Switch giving you both touch controls and then having the Joy-Cons as well.
All right, Josh.
Oh yeah, like being able to point. Okay, no, go for it. Sorry. That was really good. I was like, yeah, that would work. It would totally work.
For my number 3 game, I'm gonna have to go Resident Evil Village. I'm a huge Resident Evil fan / apologist. Like I like 5 and 6. I like almost all of them. But after the 2 remakes, it was great getting back into the first-person perspective, and I feel like they only elevated what they did with 7. The combat's a lot better. The story's a lot more interesting. Same with the world and the enemy types. However, I do think it loses focus around kind of the 40% mark of the game. It goes into a weird direction where it kind of opens up the world, and it's like, all right, you have to go collect these 3 things to progress the story, and it tells you like where you have to go. And I was like, all right, cool. Like this is kind of linear open world. Um, sort of vibe I'm getting. And then I went to one of the places and they're like, sorry, you can't come here until you went to the first place first. You need the 6-win unborn key. You only have the unborn key. And I was like, all right, I'll go to the second place. And they're like, you need the 4-win unborn key. And I was like, God damn it. And so, yeah, it surprised me and then like amped up my expectations and my hype and then immediately brought me back down by just slamming the door down, being like, no, we're sticking linear, which I guess that's kind of on me. I should have expected just linear, puzzle-based stuff from Resident Evil, but still though, when they ramp back up at like the 75%, 80% mark, like for the ending, there are some hype moments and some of the best moments in all of Resident Evil, and yeah, I feel like it's a great overall package, and I'm excited to see what they deal with DLC and then the story going forward with 9.
So it sounds like there are some lulls in the game, but when it's good, it's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, in the start, like when you're going through the castle, it's excellent, and the stuff they do with like legacy characters and like people who are established in Resident Evil lore is fantastic. And they even it's kind of been up in the air what's canon and what isn't canon with the remakes, and they definitely doubled down and said a couple things were canon that were surprising, and just had like great throwbacks and references. So it has a couple lulls for sure, but yeah, when it hits those highs, it hits them perfectly, and that's why it's not higher up on my list. But other than that, it's fantastic. If you can get it for like 30-40 bucks, I definitely say it's worth your time for sure.
Awesome.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to Lady D.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's canon, let me tell you.
It is.
All right, Austin, what's your number 3?
Hi, hello. As the player I am, I usually don't play live service games at all. Like at all. I just don't play them. But Knockout City really surprised me. Knockout City is a game that I played because it was free, quote unquote free on Game Pass, and I think I played that for literally no other game for like 2 to 3 weeks straight. I haven't played it since, but the time I spent with it, I really enjoyed my time, and I think the thing I like about it the most is how simple it is. They don't try to blow you away with their mechanics. They just have really sound, sharp things that work, and they were very smart with the balls they added in there, the 3v3, the 4v4, or with the chaos or whatever. Like, yeah, Knockout City, I'm sure a lot of people can share in my love for this game. It surprised me out of left field. Like it's similar before where Apex kind of came out of nowhere for a bunch of people. Literally, the launch of it, we knew about Knockout City, but I don't think any of us thought
Right.
we would enjoy Knockout City as much as we did. So I loved Knockout City, and with the thing that was announced today at EA Play, which I don't think we touched on actually.
Oh
But
no, I've played. My bad.
yeah, with the update to that season 2 or whatever. Yeah, I think I'll jump back in. And again, I don't do that. Like
Right.
live service games are not my thing. So if it's even like
Mhm.
piquing my interest, like they must be doing something right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, for me, Knockout City would be number 4. Like I love that game. I spent so much time playing that. And if this video is coming out when I think it is, Saturday, I'm actually going to be taking part in a tournament for charity. We're raising money. Our friend group, the NTO New Twitch Order, we're doing a tournament stream at 7 p.m. Eastern, raising money for the Trevor Project. So there'll be a bunch of.
What's the Trevor Project? What's that?
I don't.
Oh no,
It's a charity.
I just called you out.
It's for what? Trans.
LGBTQ plus that.
Yeah.
That community.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So
tune in. You said 7:00.
7 p.m. Eastern.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So there's a bunch of friends of the show gonna be playing, and gonna be just a grand old time. But
Yeah.
I love that game. I can't wait for the new map. It looks awesome. How it's just gonna be changing all the time. It looks like.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I helped. I was practicing with one of the. I'm not in the tournament, but I was helping someone practice and just getting some games in yesterday. And we tried Diamond Dash, which is basically kill confirmed from Call of Duty in
I haven't played
Knockout
that.
City. and it's every time you knock out a person, they drop 3 diamonds, and you need 30 points to score. And yeah, just the versatility of that game is like surprisingly wild. Like a lot of people were telling me to get it for the free beta, and I kind of wrote it off until it dropped. And I think Bret and Chris were playing on stream and invited me, and we yeah, it's just a blast. Like in terms of multiplayer, it's really well built. The sound effects are incredible. There's nothing better than that. Like, yeah, that than hitting somebody, just smoking them with a ball, and you get that like rubber ball right off the skin sound, and just that smack. It feels great, dude.
They have the perfect sound effect for when you peg someone. That's not the right word,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I forgot something. I goofed on that now.
All right. Another shout out to the soundtrack, which is on Spotify. So,
I remembered. I think the part I love the most about it is that like when you lose, you feel that it's on you rather than like the game mechanics or like it's fighting against you or anything. You're like, yep, you were just better than me. Like it's I don't know. Like I said before, they have sharp mechanics. It's tight. It feels good.
Yeah.
Teams that are real good, they're real good.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like the games are either like really close or you just get destroyed.
100%.
Yep. If I can hang with really good teams, I'm like, I had a good day. I had a great day today. I got 2 people out and they got me a bunch of times, but hey, I hung around.
Oh yeah.
All right, Bret.
All right, so for my number 3, and when I was like looking at all the games that like really impacted me this year, I realized a lot of them were like either remakes or remasters or like just games that had got brought into the new gen. And I haven't beaten it yet, but I'm really enjoying my time with it. And I think number 3 right now, I might put Skyward Sword HD already.
Oh, nice.
Wow, I did
Yeah,
not expect that.
yeah, I'm really liking it. I'm really liking it. It's the first time I've gotten to play it. I never picked it up on Wii, and yeah, I think I was saying this to Josh or somebody, but like Breath of the Wild came out 4 years ago, and I didn't pick it up the first time. So this is like the first traditional Zelda for me in like 14 years or something since Twilight Princess. So it's been so long with this kind of Zelda specifically in terms of and the music's great. The control scheme I think is as good as it can be. I'm playing the button controls. The art style is amazing. I really like the story so far and the characterization of Zelda this go around. She actually has some agency this time, which I know even in Breath of the Wild, some people
tell people.
I know even in Breath of the Wild, people were complaining about that, and it's like, well, the last one they actually made her like a compelling character. So, yeah, I'm loving it, and I can't wait to beat it, and then
just you.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh, I know. Yeah, I can't. But yeah, that's probably my number 3, and I gotta say, Metroid Dread will probably be on the list at the end of the year. But I just right now, Zelda Skyward Sword number 3.
If people want to see Bret's reaction, we have a video of that up on our YouTube channel of him seeing that Metroid Dread was announced. Yeah, that was fantastic. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Great.
Incredible, man. Incredible.
I edited that video and I remember as I was watching it, I was like tearing up. I was like, Bret is so freaking happy, and I'm so happy for him.
20 years, man. 20 years.
I know. I remember seeing the screenshot that's now his profile pic of just like him freaking out, and I was like, I need to see this video. Like, where is it? Why can't I watch it? And as soon as we posted it, I was right on the click there, and it's fantastic watching you react to that. So I'm excited to see you play it.
Yep.
It's a good edit too, right?
Oh yeah, 1,000%.
Great job.
Yeah.
Great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did a fantastic job, man.
Oh yeah.
All right, my number 3 is a game that just came out this week. It is Chris Tales.
Oh, dude! Wow.
I am loving this game. Granted, I'm only a couple hours in, but I literally was playing just before we recorded this, and between the art style, the music, the story, like every aspect of this game is more than that 76 on open. Like I am just head over heels with this game. It's just, it kind of reminds me just of that Persona 5 style. It just oozes style. Like it's just a complete package. What's up?
Are you saying it's an indie Persona?
I don't say it's Persona, but like if you like turn-based, if you like the battle strategy, like because it kind of has that it's turn-based, but it also has the active battle of like the Mario and Luigi games. Like where if you like the active button presses, so if you press A at a certain time as you're attacking, you can do more damage. Or as the opponent's attacking, you can defend more damage. Not get as.
Is there a time travel thing involved?
Yes.
Okay, I thought there was. I could have been wrong, but yeah.
Yep, it plays a heavy part because I mean you find it out pretty quick, but she's a time mage, so.
That's the coolest thing. That's the coolest title like possible. Time
That's
mage?
awesome.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like there's attacks where you can like basically you break a crystal and depending on if they're out to the right or the left of you, you can send them to the past or to the future. And depending on who's in your party, you can do different attacks and combos. It is it's amazing. Like I said, I've only played a couple hours, and if you have Game Pass, it's on cloud, it's on PC, it's on Xbox. Play this game.
No excuses.
Yeah.
I know Death's Door is all the rage, which I'll get to that, but Chris Tales is just awesome. Go play this.
I'm so hyped. Like I said before, I think it was before we started recording, like I just before getting on, like downloaded Chris Tales. Like not really knowing anything about it, just seeing like a snippet and being like immediately down. So all of that has me so much more excited.
Literally, because it plays, you know how some games they have like a little intro cutscene. That intro cutscene got me so hyped for this game because it is all in that art style of the game. Because the first time we saw this was the Indie World Showcase from Nintendo a while back, and I was in because I picked it. You know, I picked it up for the Fantasy Critic League because it looked amazing, and yeah, so I'm honestly surprised not many people are talking about this game.
Well,
it just came out, right?
Yeah, it just came out, right?
Right, but I mean, you see how many people's talking about Death's Door, and that just
sure. It might take a little bit longer.
The same day.
Death's Door might be the exception to the rule, though. Death's Door might just be amazing.
So this game.
I'm just saying.
All right, Bo. Number 2.
So not to go JRP or turn-based RPG to turn-based RPG, but I've been playing Fantasian on Apple Arcade. I am gonna butcher the credits, so it's Hironobu Sakaguchi and Nobuo Uematsu of Final Fantasy fame. I've been wanting since Final Fantasy VII Remake. I've wanted to play an OG Final Fantasy game. I'm just one of those people that is old game is old type. Like my lizard brain is not engaged every couple seconds that I just kind of lose interest. And if there are quality of life changes that aren't there that I'm used to, like I'm one of those people. So and also I've been wanting to explore like mobile gaming more because it's not going anywhere. And a lot of people do put their hearts and souls into like these games. So I kind of want to give credit to it. And then it also just the idea of like some of the great names of Final Fantasy. Like even though I can't like say I've played Final Fantasy 15, loved it, 7 Remake, loved it, and I just want to go further back, but I just something in me makes me upset by having to have constant save points in inconvenient places and other, so with this, it feels like not original by any means, but just so refined. And the combat is turn-based, but you have the active input of so your white mage does a lot of damage, but also heals your team a lot, and also can curve shots through. Like if there are 5 enemies on the battlefield and 3 of them are lined up on the bottom, you can curve your shot, like line up the shot so that it bounces between all of them and then get extra damage on the last hit. You have a character that has like a stand from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and then just have that thing slam on to a bunch of enemies in an AoE attack. It's like the story is it's generic and it's still cute. It's the music is amazing. Like it's a mobile game, so I'm just like I'm gonna play this while I watch Arrested Development, and then I will pause Arrested Development so that I can just listen to this concert scene play out. because it's so nice, and the battle theme is amazing, and they have this this aspect to the game where if you don't, they have random battles. Unless you turn on, I don't know how to pronounce it. It looks like Digimon. I know that's not how you pronounce it. It's supposed to be a combination of like digital something and monster and dungeon. I don't know. But long story short, you push this button, and any random encounters they just store into this thing, and then you get to where you need to go. You're at a safe point. Cool. I just went to the shop. I stocked up on meds. I'm going to mow down 30 enemies in one battle. And because it's all the AoE like skill shots pretty much, like you feel cool doing this. Like it's not a chore to grind in a JRPG anymore. Like it's
That
so
last
good.
thing that last thing you just said is a huge compliment for these types of games. So that's huge. And I love that you're giving love to the mobile games, which you call it.
Apple Arcade
It's great.
is the shit. Like it's outside of this, Apple Arcade is awesome. Like I've yet to really be like it might not be my cup of tea, but there's a lot of good stuff on Apple Arcade.
Right.
What the golf?
Android phone.
I mean, same, but
if you want some Final Fantasy classic games, I heard they're all coming to mobile later this year, and the entire Final Fantasy fan base is super excited about that.
And if it sells well, they might bring in a console. They said.
Yeah.
Can you say the title of that game one more time, Bo?
Fantasian. It's like Fantasia and then just add an N to the end of it.
Interesting.
Google doesn't really know how to deal with it yet, but you'll find it.
Okay.
All right. Josh was next, I believe.
For my second game, I gotta go It Takes Two. Friend of the show, Braden K007 and I, we played A Way Out and It Takes Two back to back, pop both those platinums. And I kind of went in with tempered expectations. I really enjoyed A Way Out, but I didn't know if I would click with this, especially like given what the story is about. But instantly, the gameplay kind of hooked me, especially like level to level. It constantly picks up new gameplay mechanics that always makes the game feel interesting. Whether it be like you're going through a beehive and one person can shoot out kind of like a ooze and then another person could blow it up, or you're going through a level with like almost like a top-down dungeon crawler. Like it constantly flips your expectations on their head and surprises you in new ways, and it's absolutely fantastic. Also, I'm just a sucker for like living in the real world, but like as a very small character, right? And so when you're going through like the kids' room as a toy, it's incredible, like seeing the scale, and you're using like a fidget spinner to like fly around the area, and it's fantastic. It's beautiful too. It also the art style and like certain moments are just breathtaking, especially playing it like on a 4K HDR TV. It's beautiful, and the spectacle is just chef's kiss, all around great package.
I want to play that game. So.
Oh yeah.
You need to.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. My only downside to it would be the mini games, and that's simply because I lost like the majority of them. I think I won 7 by the end of it. I just kept getting my ass handed to me.
It's worth noting that the mini games are totally optional. I think
Yeah.
you have to do them once to get them. Is that true, or do you just find them? Because they're kind of collectibles in a way.
Yeah, because we were going for all the trophies. We were playing every single one, and yeah, a couple of them absolute BS. I definitely should have had the win there, but
you can literally just play chess.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
That's one of the ones I won. That's one of the ones I won. I'm a big brain like that. Yeah, but just fantastic game. Super cool level design too, and incredible 3D platforming. Like I can't recommend this game enough.
Austin, you're up next.
My number 2 is Little Nightmares 2. And I don't know if any of you have ever played the first Little Nightmares. And Little Nightmares 2 does literally everything better except for the story. I think the story in the first one is better than 2, but literally everything else in 2 is improved on from 1. Little Nightmares is honestly one of my favorite games I've ever played. I think if you go to GG, 1 or 2 will be. I think I swapped it out for 2 because it's just a better game. It's in like my top 40 of all time. Like I love this franchise, and I think the thing I like about it the most is that it it gives you like the care for this child that you're trying to protect because they're essentially run. This isn't a spoiler because it's kind of hinted at in the first one and whatever. You're basically running from a slave trade type of deal. There's like supernatural elements to it, but it's like that type of environment that you're running from with these children. There's literally a portion in this game to get to the gameplay where there are mannequins. Okay, mannequin. This is a horror game. Mannequins in this game will not move if there's light on them, and you're given a flashlight. But you walk into this room, you have to get from point A to point B, right? And they will move, and you have a little flashlight, but there's like literally 50 of them. Okay, so you're like shining lights on them to make them stop. And as you shine a light on one, another one comes from behind you. You get to turn, and then when you turn, the other one starts moving. So you have to like plan out. Like I failed at this thing like 100 times to the point where once I actually freaking finally did it, I wasn't even afraid of these suckers anymore. Like I was just there's Billy, there's Bob. I don't even care. But and there is combat in this game as well. Not all enemies you can like freaking what's the word I'm looking for? Execute combat on them. Like there are specific enemies that are made for combat. Like you can't like those mannequin people. You can't just start swinging at them. Like it's not something you can do in that moment. And the combat is serviceable. It's not really the point of the game. I would say it's done well, like what they're going for, because the entire point of this game is to make you feel small, make you feel fear in a way that you are familiar with because we've all been children before. We've all understood that like childhood like helplessness and they nail that feeling so freaking much. And if you like horror games or if you like games that just excel at what they're doing, it's for you. And the art style is amazing. Yeah. I probably had more notes in my head and now I'm forgetting a bunch of things, but the quality of this game is literally like a 9 out of 10. It's so freaking good. No, they're probably not gonna make another one. They announced that like after doing Little Nightmares 2, they're gonna move on to more stuff. But I would die for another one. Like this franchise is very close to my heart. I'm a sucker for punishment. I think I've said this a lot on podcasts. Like I like the dirt. Like I still watch The Walking Dead. That's where I'm at. Like I like that feeling. I've said that a lot on content too. I like that feeling of dread. I don't know why. Not for myself. Don't get me wrong, but I like sharing in that feeling of dread. I don't know what it is. Glutton for Punishment, something like that. But Little Nightmares 2 is worth your time, 110%.
Knowing that it's kind of like a finite series and there's like a definitive end, do you think it wraps up well? Like you'd be satisfied? Like if I were to play this game, would I be satisfied with the story and everything by the end of this game?
It kind of ends not really a cliffhanger. Like there's a finite ending, but it's one that lends itself well to another game, if that makes sense.
If they were to go that way.
It kind of closes the book on a chapter, but it leaves a little bit there for you to continue on with. I can't say anything else because it would spoil something.
Fair enough.
Do I think you'd be? I think you'd want a third one. If you enjoy the franchise, I think you'd get there and you'd want a third one. So, but you'd still, I don't know. It's kind of hard to put. That's a good question because, like I said, they do kind of close the book on that chapter. But yeah, they leave a little bit to be desired with another game. I don't think you'd be upset. I think you'd be upset that there is another game though. So
right. Yeah, I remember working retail and we got like the collector's edition of the first game, and they sat on our shelves for months on months just collecting.
I get it.
Dust, and
go on.
I never really thought of it, and then I've seen a couple people play a bit of the first one and a bit of the second one, and they intrigue me enough to like if they are on Game Pass, which I might have to double check and look, but I might be like more obligated to play now, having seen some of it.
I don't think they're on Game Pass.
The first one was
on
there for a while. I don't think it is.
Yeah, I remember like a deal or something that was up for Little Nightmares, the first one. And the creatures in this game, they're all humanoid-ish, I guess. But they're creepy as fuck. Like they are the things of nightmares. And because they all have like this glossy claymation look to them.
Right.
And it works for the aesthetic. I know, Bo, you're like, ugh, like that's the point. Like they nailed that aesthetic.
You describing the mannequins, and I know that you're trying to promote this game as the game of the year potentially, but I'm like, there's no way in goddamn hell am I playing this game. Like,
and that in a way means they succeeded in their vision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And congrats to them.
I love it.
That's
It's worth your time if you like those types of games. If you like horror games and you want one that's a little more simple, then I think this would be 100% like for you.
Right.
All right, Bret, get to follow that up.
All right. So for my number 2, I'm gonna go with Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Um, when this game originally got released on what console, Josh?
The Wii U.
That's right. Nobody really paid attention to it outside of hardcore Wii U owners, just
Why
because.
would they? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, because it's
No,
the Wii U, dude.
that's fair. That's fair. And but this game is so incredible with obviously like the staples of the amazing soundtrack, but the level design is unreal. It's
Mhm.
this perfect melding of like the classic Mario level design with this 3D perspective, that they really haven't done since that game in 3D Land kind of came out around the same time. And then not only do they make it look even prettier, they up the resolution, they up the frame rate, all that. They added Bowser's Fury, which is this like incredible add-on expansion that like it's a unique Mario experience that I don't think they've ever done before. It's this asymmetrical kind of open world Mario experience where you're going around and you can tackle different levels and dungeons and objectives at any order you choose. While you have this persistent threat of Giga Bowser kind of just chasing you around. So that expansion is amazing too. I would love another expansion like that, or like another game kind of around that concept. I think would be really cool. But yeah, it's a great game that just got even better. Yeah, Austin.
Do you think that's why they released this part as a DLC to test the waters for that type of game?
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I'm sure they've got so many crazy ideas that they've cooked up for this kind of style of game with the 3D world template. Yeah, I was like, I can't believe they haven't done another one. I know 3D World originally came out in like 2013, and so it's been 8 years or what have you since that came out, or no, maybe more like 7. Because yeah, so yeah, I can't believe they haven't done a sequel. And I mean, anything that comes out on the Switch right now turns into gold. So if they wanted to strike while the iron's hot, that would be the time. So yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed what I played of that game. A friend and I were actually just playing online. We would jump into a Discord call and play, and the online part of it worked flawlessly.
Yeah, I played with Joe Medforce, and he's over in the UK, and he was the host. And so I was on, Nintendo's not like dedicated servers or
Mhm.
anything. It's peer to peer. So I was on like the long end there, and it was playable. Like obviously there was some network delay, but this is like
Mhm.
an extreme case, obviously. So,
Right.
Yeah.
but I still played for like 7 hours with him or something, and had a blast. So they're definitely baby steps in terms of their online infrastructure.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was shocked when Alec said that it works like really well. Like Nintendo Online, you're joking, right? You're
Yeah.
high, like you're drunk. Go home.
I've had great
Um,
experiences with Nintendo Online this year. With between that and Super Mario Party, they
Yeah.
both worked flawlessly.
Yeah. Ooh.
hmm.
Interesting.
I mean, you're aware that that's not the general consensus, right?
It's
I think
worked
usually
that way
Nintendo
for
Online
me,
stuff usually just
but
sucks. Like
that's
in
well,
my
that's
experience, it's always been
because
pretty
this
terrible.
year they changed the way that it works. I think.
Well, so
Or-
I think with like 3D World, and I don't want to get to because it's a whole different discussion, but
Sure.
like I still probably would not play Smash Bros online, but
Oh
I
no,
I
would
was gonna
play.
Smash,
say,
because that
But I
uses
would
the old.
play.
That uses the other way. Whereas
Oh, right. Yeah.
Mario 3D World and Super Mario Party use the new way of.
To be fair, I didn't know there was a new way, so that might be the resolution right there.
Yeah, I think their old way was like Windows 98 servers or something. There's an
Something
article about it.
bad, yeah.
I'm not even kidding. I'll link it to you guys later. It's like they were literally using like kernels that were based on like Windows 98 code or something. It was.
jeez.
I was like shocked, but not shocked when I read it. I was
Right.
like,
Yeah.
wow, they signed that. They did that. Yeah.
Well, it's nice to know that it's only Smash that's suffering.
I think it's like
Just Smash anything before Smash,
it was like
Right.
this year, 2021. I think like
Any games that
2021 was when they changed it. Yeah, so it's still new.
I do want to say one thing, and then we can move on about that game. I think it's a perfect game to play with like a little niece or little nephew or something. You can like
Oh,
give them the controller to control Baby Bowser. Is it Baby Bowser?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the Bowser's Fury.
Bowser's Fury. Yeah, I think it's a perfect thing because Baby Bowser is just kind of flying around doing whatever. Like he helps you, but like if he just fucks off somewhere, like he eventually has. I think he's like forced back to you anyway. So it's like
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, it's so accessible.
Yeah.
And 1 to 2, 3, 4, it's perfectly expandable the content you're playing for all. So it's pretty awesome how it's flexible that way.
All right, my number 2, Returnal.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
So I actually didn't beat this game, but because it just kicked my ass so much, I only made it to the 3rd world. But man, I just fell in love with this game. This was probably the first true next gen game I've played because of the way like Astrobot kind of introduced how they could use the DualSense. Returnal showed like literally you're just walking around in the rain and you can feel every single raindrop.
100%.
The way like the DualSense, I never even thought about the adaptive triggers to use, but Returnal was the first game to use like the alternate fire as a full press of the button. Whereas the primary fire is just you press hold it in a little bit, and then to use the alternate fire, you pull it in all the way. And that was, I mean, it's a genius mechanic to use of the DualSense. Like Returnal is the game that shows what the DualSense is capable of, and this is just the first year of the PS5.
Oh yeah.
Alec's game of the year, the DualSense.
System of the year for sure.
Yeah, when it works, it's.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it.
But it's not even that. But like, I enjoyed Hades a bunch, when I played last year, and this is just more of that roguelike feeling. And the weapons all feel great. The Hollow Seeker was probably my weapon of choice, followed closely by the shotgun. But
I mean, you mentioned the rain. I didn't play Return. So I keep interrupting everyone. I didn't play Returnal, but I did play Astro's Playroom, and you can feel there's a level of that where you feel the rain on the DualSense, and I can conclude that like it does feel really freaking cool when that happens.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. But yeah, that game, it is tough as hell. Like, and just the different ways you can get like. I can't, it's been a while since I've actually played, so I can't remember the exact terms, but like you could get ways that like affect you negatively, but if you fulfill a certain requirement,
malfunctions.
You can actually get malfunctions. Yes.
Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no worries. Like I said, I couldn't remember the term. So, but yeah, if you get malfunctions, but if you do a certain requirement, you can get rid of those and just get the positive benefit. And it's rogue. The thing that I didn't like about this, that I kind of like about like Dead Cells and Hades and Rogue Legacy better, is that like, yeah, you do get some items to help your progress, but it's not like you're not constantly improving every level like you were with those games. But I still enjoyed the hell out of this game.
It is like the main reason it upsets me that I don't have a PS5 right now. Like, I got a DualSense in anticipation that at one point they'll roll out features for Steam on certain games, but
I need that. I have 2 regular DualSenses, but it's like I can't quite justify.
What a lame-o.
Nah, the white's sexy.
No, you're right.
Conversely, I would love an all-white DualSense.
Sure. I like how we're all showing these controllers and Bo's just sitting there like, you son of a bitch.
No, I'm trying to figure out if I should unplug my controller with that, because I'm very worried that like it'll make some loud noise or something will explode as I'm pulling it. Like, I'm just like worst case scenario, Sure. Unplug, break. The other day I plugged in my like USB dongle for my headset. Something fell somewhere. And I thought it was like I broke something in my computer. We'll fucking see. Like, I still don't know what that noise was, and I'm terrified that the other shoe will drop at some point. So,
who knows?
Yeah, I'm not pulling or plugging in anything for the next 72 hours just in case, just as a buffer. Wait, and is it my turn for?
Yes, number 1.
Yes, okay. Number 1.
Here so far.
Don't have too much to say about it because I feel like other people have spoken more eloquently about this franchise than I am, and I'm also a very hard casual to the Monster Hunter franchise. Monster Hunter Rise is so fucking good. I jumped in with World and then tried to play Generations Ultimate, whichever one came out on Switch after
I think that was
Monster Hunter World. And my issue with Generations was it showed its age. Like after Monster Hunter World, it was this big, beautiful, like open area. And then you go back to the older games where everything is segmented off and whatever. But I'm like, I'm torn because I want to play Monster Hunter World because it's pretty, but I want to play Monster Hunter Generations because I can hold it. And this kind of like, I'm not saying that this looks as good as Monster Hunter World by any means, but it makes it hard to go back. The addition of the zip bug, I think I don't know all the names. Like I'm saying, I'm super casual, but like I'm in high rank now. I've got a few builds. Like I'm a switch axe and charge blade main. It's so much fun. If you've never played them before, I still kind of think that Monster Hunter World is a better entry point to the franchise. But if you're looking for a non-traditional RPG where like the conceit of, oh, you don't get better, or like you don't level up, just you as the player learn more, and that's how you get better at the game. People say that it's kind of some bullshit because you need to get a bunch of armor and whatever, but like just the idea of I'm loading into a hunt and I see people zip up on their bugs, do crazy flips, and they're on the other side of the map now because they know that this route is there. And now I see, okay, there's, and then I get up there and there are bugs that I can pick up that make me stronger so that I can take out these monsters super quickly. Like I'm the underleveled, like, I don't know that much. I'm the underleveled one in my lobby. I take that information to the next lobby with people that don't know. And for one thing, I'm a god to them. And two, they can then take that information and move on and the cycle continues. Like it's so much fun and the sense of community is great. And I'll shut up about it because again, like Gaijin Hunter on YouTube does a bunch of good stuff on Monster Hunter specifically. If you want Monster Hunter content, go there. Not sponsored.
Or watch the movie. Starring...
No,
Okay.
we're not going to do that.
I've seen the movie. I haven't played any of the games, but I've seen the movie. And like my dad, who loves bad action movies, he even didn't vibe with it. Like he hated it.
Oh wow,
that's terrible. That's bad.
Yeah, that's how you know it's bad for sure. Yeah, it's hard because kind of going off the point you were making there, it's hard to make the case for Rise. One, World is free on Game Pass and PlayStation Plus Collective or like whatever that pass is. Yeah, collection. So you can get a brand new game full price on the Switch, or you can go to like your PS5 or your Xbox, your next gen Xbox, and just get the 3-year-old one for free. So I definitely think I'd go World for the entry point, and I'm getting closer and closer every day to playing Monster Hunter World finally.
You get a dog in Rise.
Ooh.
You get a dog that you can ride into battle. Mine has probably. I would be very surprised if there's no way to actually pet your Palamute because you can do a bunch of other shit. They have stats and level up. You can get I give mine a giant umbrella that can shield me whenever I like get behind it. And the zip bugs. Like I agree with what you said, but there are reasons to prefer Rise to World. I don't want it to sound like they took a step back. They were just, if they put the Palamutes and the zipline bugs in World, I'll jump ship immediately. But like, as of now, I just want to say there are reasons to take a step forward.
Let me put it on record that Fallout 3, I've said this 100 billion times, is my favorite game of all time. If they would allow me to have stats for dog meat and like improve dog meat, I would have liked that game even more. So like you're speaking my language. Let's go.
Get them armor. I'll shut. Like I need to stop because I'll keep gushing about this game. So I think Josh, you were next, right?
Josh.
What's
Take it away.
Your number one.
Returnal. Not much to say about it that Albob hasn't already said. It's finally, like I played Miles Morales when I got the PS5, and that game was not to like discount it or anything, but it was kind of a glorified PlayStation 4 game. But it looked beautiful and just ran so much better on PS5. This is like the first next gen game that I've played. Feeling every single raindrop on the DualSense is absolutely incredible. This is also my introduction to roguelike games. I didn't get on Hades last year or anything, so the procedurally generated world I find incredibly fascinating, and how they can take a certain area and just add minor twists to it. It's incredible. Yeah, I jumped in because I initially didn't get it because games are $90 in Canada, and that's a lot of damage.
That's
But they put it on a weekend special for 60, which is like the price of a regular game back in the day before our economy went to shit. And I've been sitting on it until like we had our last meeting and we actually set a date for this. And so after that, I was like, oh shit, I should actually maybe play it. And I've sunk in I think 12 hours at this point. I'm on the third biome. I've taken down the second boss, and this game just keeps getting better. The malfunctions and the parasites, like things that both amplify you but put on different negative effects, are incredible. At the adaptive triggers is amazing, and I'm a huge fan of Control, and seeing that this game kind of has the same camera placement and
yeah.
almost feel like that's the closest touchstone I can give to it for people who haven't played it. Is it kind of plays like Control, but also not really, because Control does unique things with the powers versus this is
It's just
a,
guns.
yeah, exactly. But it's guns done in the way that Housemarque has done in the past, and like encountering the first enemy and seeing the way the projectiles came at me immediately gave me flashbacks to playing Resogun at the PlayStation 4 launch, because this is just the same studio, and I'm a sucker for seeing studios grow and just fine tune their art to such a perfect form where um, like the creative freedom and the trust that Sony took on this to give a developer that typically does twin stick shooters a full AAA budget with a story and just push it out. It's incredible. It's incredible. Like I can't sing the praises of this game enough. And I was watching PS no, Kind of Funny Games Daily, and they're saying that Housemarque was done with twin stick shooters because they weren't selling and they were going to focus on something else. And
Arcade
people
is
didn't know if
dead.
that's yeah. We didn't know if it was going to be multiplayer or what, but this is the best possible outcome. Because it feels like a twin stick shooter the way you're moving around, and it's incredible.
Yeah, it's
and they just got acquired by Sony, right?
Yes, they did.
Housemarque,
Yeah.
It kind of has that Doom element where you need to be moving around constantly, or else you'll just get destroyed.
100%. In which like I felt Control had a lot of that Doom. Like it's almost like the dance. Like you're constantly moving around, dodging bullets, and just the tools they give you to do that dance in Returnal, whether it be all the guns or even the lightsaber looking melee weapon. Incredible. I just unlocked the grapple hook. I have a jump, but not a double jump. So I'm hoping there is one, because that just seems like a natural progression.
When you don't have the dash it's like I need the dash.
Yeah, 110%.
It takes a while to unlock that, but
yeah, and just the moment-to-moment gameplay and the way it controls feels incredible. And there's also like some PT elements to it in the story too, with certain segments, and I'm just completely sucked into this world, and it's incredible. And a couple people that replied to our tweet that we put out asking for people's game of the years, lots of Returnal. So you'll love to see it.
Austin, what's your game of the year so far?
My game of the year so far has been already said, so I'm gonna take this time, a little bit of my time, to talk a little bit more about Little Nightmares 2. Bear with me. Little Nightmares 2. I remember this after the fact. It has a sequence near the end of the first act that is like top 3 gaming moments ever for me. Like you're controlling 2 characters kind of, and you're helpless. You're fighting off this giant creature. To you, he's probably like a normal sized man, and there's a moment, because this is all in the demo, so I'm gonna spoil it a bit. I'm gonna say it in like layman's terms, so I don't spoil it to the extent. But there's a point where like you're trapped in like a shed, and he's breaking down the door, and the sound design is amazing, and you feel every thud of the door, and you feel in danger. and these two little children are trying to hoist up a shotgun, and the shotgun is like bigger than them. It's like four of them, so they're one's trying to like hold it up, and the other one's trying to like grab the trigger, and they have other like wood on them. So and you just see the guy's fist coming through the door, and as soon as you manage to pull the trigger, is when he breaks through the door, and everything just goes silent. And before that, everything was there was just noise all over the
It's
place, and like
chaos.
literally just telling the story, I got chills because the sound design in this game, they nail it 110%. But I want to talk about It Takes Two because It Takes Two is my game of the year,
Hey,
2021.
Mm,
It Takes Two was a game that I had my eyes on from its announcement, but like not like 110% like, oh, that's cool. Couch co-op. I love couch co-op. That's great. Moved on from it. And then the more, because I don't think I picked it up right away. I think I waited, and then people were like, "This game is for real. Like, you need to play this game." And since Josh already talked about it, I won't talk about it a ton, which is the reason why I brought up Little Nightmares 2 again. But I think it's worth noting that Hazelight, they are the developers that make couch co-op games like 100%. Like that's what they do, and they
Oh yeah.
nail it. So if you like couch co-op, you need to support this game because one, it's a great game and you won't regret it. But
Mhm.
two, like who else is doing that? Like there's a few here and there, but like this is what they do, and they do it at the top of their game, at the top of their game for what they do. One more thing I want to say is that it feels like a mature Nintendo game in design
That
interesting.
and in the couch
that's
co-op way. Like it's a mature Nintendo game because they tackle like a failed marriage in a way
yeah,
that
divorce. Yeah,
yeah, they tackle divorce, and a little bit of it feels like a bit much, like it feels forced a bit, but like
100%.
the overall theme of it, like they sell that home pretty well, I would say. I feel like the writing is more than serviceable. It's just not amazing, but
100%.
yeah,
Did you play this with the missus?
I did. Yeah, and she
And
doesn't
did
play
she
games.
right.
Well, I keep saying that now. I should probably stop saying that because I keep making her play games. But she really enjoyed it. Like I remember when we finished It Takes Two, like a few days later, she's like, "Can we just play It Takes Two again?" And I looked at her and I was like,
Damn.
"We did it. We did it.
Yeah, yeah,
We
no
did it."
kidding.
There you
Um,
go.
and I
Um,
remember, and you brought the mini game, so I was like, "Oh yeah, we can just go in there and play mini games together. Like we
mhm,
can just do that and be fun." We haven't done that because I'm lame and I'm like I don't play games again. But that was a moment of triumph for me. I was like,
right.
"Holy shit!" Yeah.
Have you played A Way Out with her yet?
No, because I don't think. While I think she would enjoy that game, I think since she played It Takes Two first, she wouldn't really enjoy it. She's very much if she doesn't love it in the first 2 hours, like she's done.
Fair
She's
enough.
not wasting your time. And because if we would have played A Way Out first and then went to It Takes Two, which again I didn't think It Takes Two was going to be amazing, but it was.
Same here. Same here.
Yeah. So I think it's worth a shot because I did bring it up. I was like this developer, they have other games, and I talked to her about A Way Out, and she's like, I'll give it a go, but and I know by how she said it that it was just like
Right.
sure kind of
Yeah.
thing. But yeah,
Fair enough.
All right,
play
Brett.
it.
my game of the year is Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Um, I could go on for hours about how much that series means to me, but just imagine 3 game of the year contender games in one package. Up-res, higher frame rate, all that. But yeah, it's just 3 incredible games in one package. And um, yeah, I mean, like each game is just so phenomenal. Um, I mean, yeah, Mass Effect 1 was game of the year contender in '07, 2 was one in 2010, 3 was one in 12. Yeah, it's just incredible story. The music is like this is like a new franchise back in the day when it came out that got created that is on par with like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and Star Trek. Like the lore is that deep, is that vast, that if you get yourself immersed in this world, like it pays off in countless ways. And going and the main staple of this game and of a lot of Bioware games is the agency and the story of how you make choices in part one that pay off 2 games down the road that could completely change how you look at certain characters, certain factions, certain story beats. I really can't say enough good things about each game. But yeah, incredible, yeah, characters. It's all just phenomenal. So if I had to recommend one game, if I only had to play one game this year, I probably would replay the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. And it's on both generations, so it's super accessible for anybody who doesn't have an next gen console. Yeah, you can play it on a 2013 Xbox One. Yeah, so that's my
Solid
pick.
Good
choice.
ones. Have you finished any of the other games? Have you finished any game in the collection?
No, because I'm playing it on Xbox and PlayStation at the same time.
Right.
So I'm doing a Renegade run on PlayStation and
Mhm.
Paragon run on.
What does that mean? What does Renegade run mean?
So Renegade
Bad or
is
good?
like Renegade's
Bad,
roughly like the bad morality.
Yeah.
So
So
there's
bad but not evil, kind of a thing.
there's certain choices where you're like, damn, did I just like do this? That's
Like I'll help you if you pay me a lot, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
yeah. It's that classic
By any means
thing of
necessary. You don't
right.
care. Like, I don't care if you die as long
It's
as I.
like ruthless versus
Mhm.
Paragon's more like selfless, placating other people or other factions, things like that, going out of your way to do something that's going to take a little bit longer, things like that. So
I'm always a Paragon. I always say
I
like
can't.
I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna kill everyone, and then I get to like the first character and I'm like,
I
I
can't.
can't do it.
I can't. I think I've done one Renegade run ever. I can't be bad.
Same.
Even things like KOTOR,
Same.
when like I don't want to spoil KOTOR, but like you can just like straight up kill people. Like they're asking you for money, you can just like kill them. And you're like, what? like
Yeah.
so.
I think the only experiment I've had experience Jesus I've had with like kind of being bad was Infamous 2,
Yeah.
to get the other
Yeah.
ending. But even then, I think to get my infamy, I guess would be the proper term, like to that level, I just went around killing a bunch of civilians to like let it go up, and then I did the final thing or whatever. Like that might not check out, but
Right.
I feel like I remember doing that. So I kind of cheated
Basically,
that
just
way.
cause
But yeah.
destruction.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I didn't do it throughout the story. I kind of just did for that run. I did whatever I felt like at the moment, and at the end, I was just like, "You're gonna die," and mowed down a bunch of people to get to that state, and then did the last thing.
Right. And the Legendary Edition comes with all of the story DLC. So
Oh, that's cool.
I know for some people who didn't pick up all of it or only got a couple of them, like there's certain story DLCs that like for better or worse like have a huge impact on the story. So people who were like, yeah, I played Mass Effect 2 and then I jumped to 3, it's like, well, there's a couple DLCs in between that like impacts how you look at like certain characters or things like that. So it's all in one
Interesting.
package now, and yeah, and the
So
games still look good. Like even Mass Effect 1, you're
Mhm.
playing on a Xbox One
can
at
you?
1080p.
I think I know the answer to this, but you can boink aliens in this game, right? You can just bend them over and.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
there's ways where because you're kind of locked into one romance per game, but there's ways where you
Okay.
can like have flings with certain characters, so you can lock in 2 or 3 depending on how charming you are.
Sure. So, like this package has all three game package. Rather having that discussion. This it has all three games. Would you say this is like thousands of hours of content? Like
Oh, easily.
legitimately to that
If you
level?
if you do a completionist run of the entire trilogy, it's like 150 hours, and then there's
Okay.
multiple ways you can play the game. So and I'll, like if you really get into the minutia, so it's like, well, I played Paragon all 3 games, but what if I go Renegade in 2 and how that affects 3, but I go back to Paragon, and there's all those little permutations of how the characters react to the choices, how the factions react to it, how your shepherd reacts to it. So yeah, there's still things even for me where I will play a game and I'm like, oh, I did the missions in this order, and then this guy said one extra little line that kind of like influenced how I thought about the missions that I just did that you wouldn't get if you did them in a certain order or what have you. So there's still like so many like ways to play these games that people already know and love for 14 years.
All right. Yeah. So my game so far is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Let's
Mm,
go.
yeah.
That game, it's just so good. Like, one of the complaints a lot of people had with Ratchet and Clank 2016 is that it didn't quite have the story to go along with the great gameplay. Well,
Mm.
this has a really good story to go along with that gameplay. And along with what I was saying about Returnal, how it had that really unique firing style, where instead of like hitting a different button to get that alternate fire, it's you hold L2, you press it in a little bit, that's your primary fire, and then you get the alternate fire by pulling the trigger in all the way. The guns in that game are amazing. Like, I found myself just cycling through the guns every single time rather than favoring certain guns. And I actually eventually got the platinum in this game. There was one trophy that was a pain in the butt. Use the void repulsor if you're going for the platinum. Don't be like me and save that trophy for last and have to level that gun, because you need the second evolution of that gun to get that trophy, not the first version like I thought I could.
Did you get the Easter egg gun or whatever it's called? There's like an Easter egg gun and you shoot it.
The Rhino. You need that to get the platinum.
Okay. Yeah, there's apparently a Sly Cooper thing, which is the only reason I'm asking.
Yeah. Well, I haven't gotten because you've seen the videos. I mean, it's been all over the internet.
Sure.
But yeah, basically what that gun does is it just, because Rift Apart is, all the dimensions are coming apart, and what that gun does is it just pulls from other dimensions and just slams it down, and so you could just have random PlayStation characters come down.
Oh wow!
Like, apparently, you can get like a Horizon Zero Dawn Dino robot coming in.
Damn, super cool.
But yeah, this game, it's amazing. Like, playing this in 60 or the performance RT mode is amazing. It's full. This is the thing that we haven't talked about, but Miles Morales has spoiled me, changing me to a frame rate snob.
Yeah.
Like, playing games in 60 frames a second now is just a game changer. So having Insomniac giving the performance RT mode right out of the gate is amazing, because that game looks amazing. And there was a point where I actually made a TikTok on mine, because there's these two robots and I use the melee, the wrench, to hit them, and I'm like, man, that feels so weird. But I'm like, that sound's not coming from my headphones. It's coming from the way the DualSense is vibrating. Huh. It was the craziest thing. Like, so it was just one of those, like, I had to stop playing and just like record this, because it's like, it's the DualSense. This isn't the sound from like the robots in the game are making. It's the controller making this noise.
That's awesome. To get a PS5. Oh my god.
Yeah. Alex, like, trying to figure out where this noise is coming from while he's playing.
Yeah, I just haven't touched it because of the $90 thing. Like, that's a steep price, but like, I'm sure by the time we get to Game of the Year, at the end of the year, if Horizon doesn't come out, that easily is going to be my number one. I love Insomniac. I don't think they miss at this point. Like, they're they're just such a AAA studio, and yeah.
I'm not a platinum trophy person, but literally the last 3 games from Insomniac, I have their platinums.
Hell yeah, I love it.
Because I've learned they make great platinum lists where there's a few trophies that are a little annoying, but it's not like impossible.
Oh yeah. And then what you're saying about the guns too, Insomniac just takes such like fun creative liberties with weapon types. Like, once Knockout City came out, there was such a vibe and feel to that game that actually made me want to go back and play Sunset Overdrive. And so I booted that up and ran around the open world for a little bit. And I hope it comes to PlayStation with the trophy list, but just booting up my 2014 save and going through the weapon wheel, and just like, there's one gun that just shoots fireworks, and there's a vinyl record launcher, and a big ass revolver called the Dirty Harry. They just do such great things with weapons in games. They're always so fun, and even the games in Ratchet 2016, or the guns in Ratchet 2016, were super fun to cycle through and use. So I'm super excited to hop into this.
Yeah, and that's something that I thought was really, because I was on Bush League Gaming's review of the 2016 Ratchet & Clank, and we were talking about how, like, a lot of us just kind of favored a few weapons here and there, whereas in Rift Apart, I was literally going through almost every weapon, whereas I wasn't really favoring, a couple here and there. I was going through so many, trying to level them all up at the same time. So it's an amazing game.
I played through it as well. I don't honestly remember. This game wasn't amazing for me. I think as in terms of like a complete video game, it looks beautiful, it performs well, a lot of variety in combat, all that good stuff. But I honestly don't remember what I favored for a gun. I also beat it like 2 weeks ago, maybe, so that might be why. But I knew I threw a lot of grenades. Or those whatever. There's a lot of like
fusion
throwable
grenades,
weapons. There's a lot. Well, I think anything that was throwable, I threw out often. Like there's
Well,
something you can throw out that they're just like
Mr.
floating little
Fungi.
turrets.
Mr. and Miss Fungi.
I would
like
just
those
throw them a
things,
lot.
because once you get the evolution, it's Ms. Fungi, where it's basically you get two of them at the same time. So there's an upgrade to that gun where you can throw multiples of those out. So you can have 4 little turret things at your side, just annihilating enemies while you're, cycling through all your other weapons.
I think my favorite tactic was to throw the sprinkler thing, which would like freeze everyone in place, and then I just throw a grenade. Oof. And I'm just blowing up a bunch of people with like basically 2 things. It's a fun game. Like I think the epitome of that franchise is just it's fun to play.
The gameplay, yeah. All right. So we can go real quick, but games that we've been playing this year that would, since we're only halfway through the year, games that we could, or that we haven't come out this year, or did not come out this year, but we've played that come out previously.
Yep. Right, that you really enjoyed.
Yeah. Bo, I know, probably have a good guess at what yours is.
Yeah, Apex Legends. I feel like a fucking idiot for not fighting for this game more. Because when Warzone came out, I feel like all my friends it was like, well, it's Call of Duty. We're going to go play it. And I was like, I was a part of that camp. But I was also like, okay, but like when you slide in Warzone, it doesn't like that. Anytime I played Warzone and slid and then stopped sliding because it's a boots on the ground shooter or whatever, I was just upset that I wasn't playing Apex.
The Apex slide.
But over time, I was playing with friends. Warzone was Warzone, and I was kind of enjoying it. And then, it wasn't until this last season of Apex, and also, frankly, it was Warzone kind of just crashing on me every time I tried to play that. I jumped into Apex for a bit and was like, oh, this is a lot more fun than I remember it. Oh, wow, the sound design is a lot more like boisterous and a lot more, the weapons sound distinct and they act like to how they look. And I feel like the visuals are just so much more, it's more bright and colorful, and the gameplay is more fast, but also fights take longer. So it's like, sure, if you are sick at this game, you can drop down on someone, take them out pretty quickly. But if I am the person getting jumped, if I planned my way in properly, then I probably planned my way out properly, so I can go and heal. It's an old game. I talked about it earlier, so I will cut myself off. But I fucking love Apex Legends, and I would make it my game of the year if I could. But I can't. I just finished the Battle Pass today.
Nice.
I love this game.
Ready for season 10? Let's go.
I was gonna say, just make it season 10 Apex. That's your game of the year.
Yeah, and Arenas is amazing. Apex Arenas is amazing. It's so good.
Basically, Valorant. Apex. Josh.
Cool.
All right, mine obviously Anthem. Bret, Braden, and I just started Anthem. It's fantastic. You have javelins, you're flying, you're shooting. The lore, the world, all so extensive and just fantastic.
Cut 'em off.
No, obviously Ghost of Tsushima. I didn't play that right at launch because I was sitting on this QLED TV and I wanted to sit down and play it in full HDR, have the colors pop, and I sat down back like late January to all of February, just going through this game, taking my time. I love exploring Japan, following a yellow bird and not knowing whether it's going to take me to hot springs or a one-on-one katana duel. That's just absolutely incredible and super intense. I love the combat. I love the story. There's not much more I could say that I haven't already said. Plus, Legends on top of that is a perfect package. I finished the raid like last month, and it's incredible. It's just a complete package, and I'm super excited to go right back in next month for the director's cut too.
Yeah, less than a month now.
Yeah, less than a month.
Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima was my game of the year last year. That game is absolutely fantastic, and that's saying something because Last of Us Part 2 came out, and I love that game, and I think Last of Us Part 2 was like the best game ever made. But I enjoyed playing Ghost of Tsushima so much that I had so much fun, and they nailed their vision so much. Like I can't like you said, you cannot. There's a laundry list of things you could say that this game excels at, and maybe 2 things that are bad.
110%. And I hadn't played this when we were doing Game of the Year discussion last year, so I was ride or die on Last of Us. But now that I've played it, like I can definitely see the argument for why putting it above it. Like it's a lot less emotionally draining to play for sure. Like it still has its moments, but it doesn't take the same. Like it doesn't constantly beat you down. Like you're able to appreciate the beauty of Japan while, there's still Mongols running around and taking over the island for sure.
Awesome.
My game that I discovered this year that didn't come out this year was Sackboy: A Big Adventure. Again, I love couch co-op games. I love playing games with my girlfriend, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the people who made Sackboy are the ones who do Astro's Playroom, right?
Sumo Digital, I think, did Sackboy.
Did Sumo Digital not make Sackboy?
No, that was Team Astrobi or
Team
something.
Asobi. Okay, so
Asobi,
maybe I'm just wrong. But those two franchises feel a lot alike, and like the floatiness of the jumping and that kind of stuff. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it's basically PlayStation's Mario, and like I mean that in every best way. Like that game is solid. Like to me, Sackboy is like probably an 8.5 at the lowest out of 10. Like I love the way this feels. The music in this game is fantastic. There are some bangers in this game. And there's some levels that are like literally rhythm based, like a platformer, but they're still rhythm based, and I love those levels. Those levels are a dime a dozen. But every time I run into one of those, because there are some levels that are difficult, and you're like, damn, okay, especially if you're playing with someone else. Like, there are just some like co-op things that are difficult to pull off. But yeah, the rhythm levels when those come up, I'm like, yeah, like I step up in my chair. I'm like, holy crap, like yes, let's do this. Yeah. So Sackboy: Big Adventure is equivalent to Mario in my mind.
I'm waiting for a sale to pick that up.
Same here, but it's on my radar for sure.
Yep. Bret.
All right, so Josh stole my answer on this one, but I'm gonna say
Anthem. Let's go.
heck no. But the game that I, quote unquote rediscovered this year is Ghost of Tsushima. When it came out last year, I binged the first act. I did like everything, enjoyed it, but then for some reason I just like stopped playing it. I don't know if like other games were coming out or whatever live service game I was into back then was, doing something cool or whatever, but I just stopped playing it. And
I think
then
Last of Us came out a month later, and that might be
the opposite way. Yeah.
Was it the opposite? Okay, never mind.
Yeah. And when they announced the director's cut a few weeks ago, that was like the kick in the pants for me to like beat it before that comes out. That way I can experience that expansion, knowing the full context of the story and all that. So I've been playing it a lot the past few weeks, and I'm almost done with Act 2. And yeah, I'm just thoroughly enjoying it. Like this game is so perfect in the way that you complete a small side quest or anything, and then you just naturally discover something right next to you. Like you're like, oh, boom, doing this now, and like you can do like the super small side quests are like 5-10 minutes long. Even the character side quests are like 20-30 minutes long. Like it's pretty impressive how bite-sized it is, that you can really play it for any amount of time and get like a meaningful like interaction or take something away from it meaningful, no matter how long you play. So it's expertly designed it that way. And yeah, music's amazing, gameplay is awesome. Yeah, it's so pretty on PS5 with the 60 FPS mode. So yeah, I can't believe it's like, man, why did I stop playing this? So I'm glad I'm getting back into it though.
Yeah.
My favorite part about the game is like, you know what, I'm bored. I'm just gonna run to a place and just challenge the dude at the gate. Like, 'cause you just walk up to him and he's like, and then you start that duel thing where you're waiting. Yeah, you're waiting to time it. Oh, I love that mechanic so freaking much.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, dude, it's so cool.
Go on.
Josh, go.
I was just gonna say I got really close to buying a katana while playing this game, and honestly, when playing director's cut, if I just say fuck it and just buy one, I wouldn't be surprised.
Just hang out behind you.
He's just gonna
Just like
pull it out on
collector's
the
edition.
podcast, just casually.
Yeah. Exactly.
I just wanted to say real quick that they could have so easily done all of this beautiful music, beautiful scenery, and made the combat pretty basic, and like they would have got away with it too because everything would have been so beautiful and it would have been like a 7 out of 10 or whatever. But they make the combat so thrilling that that's honestly probably my favorite part about the game. And I'm usually not like a mechanics person, but how smooth that feels, dude, I will never get over. That is probably the best feeling game I've ever played. And when you're in a game that big, that massive, because it's not huge, but it's an RPG for the most part. Yeah, like that's not easy to pull off. So. Well done.
Yeah, whenever I'm planning on getting to that, trying to wrap up the story before the director's cut comes out. Because yeah, like Bret, I only played through a bit of Act 1 and just dropped it for whatever reason. So I'm planning on getting back to that soon.
Yeah, and I think part of it too was when I beat Act 1, like obviously there's a whole story, but like there is like okay, like you do this huge thing in Act 1, and then it's like okay, now what? Now here's it. But it is like pretty like that. Just Act 1 alone is pretty epic, and so it's kind of what I said. It's like so bite sized, perfectly segmented that it's incredible how they designed it that way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So mine, I had just a quick couple. Like I platinum Miles Morales. So that game, it's like the second time around in New Game Plus, you can skip cutscenes and all that. I think I might have skipped a couple at the beginning, but I basically replayed that entire campaign. It's such a good game.
Oh, yeah.
That final cutscene still gutted me.
Oh, yeah. Big tearjerker.
Speaking of tearjerkers, the other one that I really want to talk about, Tetris Effect.
Ooh.
Oh.
Because man, not necessarily like tearjerkers, but like playing that in VR, no
conveying
phone
an emotion.
distraction.
Right.
Yeah, conveying emotions, and it's like it is a journey, which is a reason why they call it journey mode. Like playing, like I said, playing in VR, because that's what I did, for the first time. It's just an experience because you're, nothing to distract you. It is just you and the game. So, and I'm not even that good at Tetris, but I had like the soundtrack. I have so many of those songs on my playlist now.
It really is transcendent.
Yeah. And let me tell you, I even not playing in VR, just playing on an HDR TV. Ooh, that game looks good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I kind of want to do what Jordan said when he was talking about it and just kind of, get a little high and just get super just sucked into the experience of Tetris Effect.
Eat a doobie.
I should have added
dude.
a VR game of some kind. Because I just got, or not just, but when I moved to Philadelphia earlier this year, I got an Oculus Quest 2.
Oh.
Ooh.
And then I don't know what happened, but at some point, I think it happened in May, maybe June. Somehow I got locked out of my account. And like all of my games are still on, like connected to my account. I just had to like hard factory reset the headset itself. So it wiped all of my save data. I still have the games. I just have to start from scratch. So like, it's just put a sour on that. But
that's unfortunate. Yeah, I get that.
Tetris Effect is so good. I could not agree more.
All right. Now,
all right.
Before we wrap up, we got some community.
What about Chris?
So far.
What about Chris's thoughts?
Okay.
You should we do that before the community ones?
Right. Yeah. So Chris, since he couldn't be here, he's on vacation. Hope you're having fun, Chris. So the game of the year so far, thoughts? He hasn't really been into new releases this year. So by default, he's got to go with Resident Evil Village. Most of the games that he wants to play aren't out yet. Though he'll be diving into Death's Door once he gets back from vacation. He said Knockout City and Pokemon Unite have been really fun experiences, but I don't think I'd consider them game of the year material personally. So he's had a blast with them so far. As far as non-2021 games, he's taken some time to clear out his backlog. His favorites have been Ghost of Tsushima and 100%ing Miles Morales. Downright masterpieces of video games.
Where's the love for Control, Chris? Come on. Come on. Going with another fellow member of Waypoint's Game of the Year. Not from this year, but Chance said Ninja for the GameCube, which
iNinja,
as a iNinja, as a PS2 kid, so never even heard of this. More replies to the tweet, though. We put out a tweet, and shout out everyone who replied, gave us your submissions. We have Reese Boy and Ben at Please Be Excited, both friends of the show. They both said Returnal, and Rob Newland agreed with Reese Boy, said no contest. So love seeing that. Other friend of the show, Paul Despawn, said Hitman 3 or Resident Evil Village, and I completely forgot there was a Hitman game that came out this year. I feel like that kind of took up a good chunk of the year, and then followed through with some more community events, and then kind of followed off. And then he also said Doki Doki Literature Club Plus for his not game that came out this year. We had Proper Matt at proper_Matt say Chicory, I think is the name. Chicory. The name
really
it's
cool
pronounced. He said it's a coloring book. It's coloring book the video game, but it's incredibly deep in both story and gameplay. So I haven't looked into it.
I played a demo of it for 6-1. It's pretty much like a platformer, like a 2D platformer from like in these environments, like getting from point A to point B. But the combat in this game, when you get to the combat section, because it's like a heartfelt story throughout there, but the combat, like the music kicks up, and it goes from like this heartfelt kind of like journey to the combat being like, and you're like, oh my god, and like things are popping up all over the screen, and it's just they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing with color, and they just use that to their arsenal very, very well. Like it's worth your time. I think it got like 9s. Like it's a great game.
Interesting.
Honest.
What systems is it available on?
I think it's everything.
I played it. I played it on my laptop, and it's still performing super well. So I have no idea.
I think it's a PC. Yeah, I think it's almost that's available, or it might be just PC and PlayStation.
Oh yeah, that sounds right. Actually, that sounds right. Like a timed thing, I think.
Yeah,
I'll have to keep a lookout.
I would honestly recommend playing it on PC, because playing it with a controller because I did buy it and play it. I've gotten through the first boss, and I enjoyed what I played, but it was really difficult to do some of the more accurate painting, especially when you're rushing with the boss. So I think doing it with like a mouse on PC would make that way easier.
And if that's true, I think the bosses are like the best part of this game. So if that's true, then take Alec's advice to heart for that.
Interesting. And then we had Jelani Pulliam, sorry if I pronounced your last name wrong, said Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart again, and I'm sure Braden didn't reply to our tweet, but I'm sure that's his answer too. I'm super excited. I don't think Braden's gonna say Anthem. I think he's too much of a Ratchet and Clank guy. And then finally, big friend of the show and awesome guy to work with, Philip J. Woodward, says he doesn't know if he has a Game of the Year yet, but he's put the most time into Resident Evil Village, and he said he needs to still play Ratchet and Clank and put more time into Death's Door, but he said Returnal was his biggest surprise of the year.
Big names there.
So yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you everyone that submitted responses to our tweet.
Wait, follow us on Twitter
at Waypoint Podcast.
Waypoint Podcast.
Alec, before you close up, I tallied the points. So of this panel, if we were taking the Game of the Year of Waypoint, so far it's a tie between Returnal and It Takes Two. So take that as you will.
Interesting.
I'm sure it'll be very different because we've got some big releases coming up.
Some bangers coming.
Oh yeah.
And on that note, thank you so much for sticking with us this very long podcast. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate the community giving back and letting us know what their games have been. And we will see you at the next Waypoint.
Bye.